Hey everyone, it's Pam and I'm here with my monthly update video telling you everything that I was up to in the month of April. First, I'm a little tired and frustrated today, in case I seem a little grumpy in this video. I've spent 5 hours of my day at work on a conference bridge troubleshooting technical issues, and I really want a giant glass of wine, but I feel like I might be back on the conference bridge, or at least on email soon, so instead I'm just going to have this delicious iced latte that I made for myself. It's also very foamy. So this month was another good one for the channel. I had a little cameo over on the Cinemassacre channel on Angry Video Game Nerd, which was pretty cool. I was very surprised when I was asked to be a part of it, and it was very nice of James and the whole team there to include a bunch of smaller YouTubers in his video. In case you haven't seen it, it's the video on the Aladdin deck enhancer. I'll link to it in the description. There was probably a good, 15 or 20 YouTubers that got little cameos at the end of the video, and I've gotten a lot of traffic and a lot of new subscribers from it, so if you are one of them, hello new subscribers, welcome to the channel. It was interesting because I got asked to do it and then they're like, oh yeah, we need a video tonight. So I was like, okay. And they're like, you have to react to your game shelf exploding. So I was like, oh shit, because my game, I've got a few games here, but the games are all in another room. So I was like, okay, well, do I want to move my camera and move my lights into the game room so I can react to my actual game shelves exploding? Or do I want to leave my setup and just move some games into this room, which is what I did. So it wasn't the most impressive game shelf. I just sort of took a handful of Genesis and NES and PS1 games and stuck them on this shelf here with my PC games, but it was cool. It was nice to see it all come together, and it was great to be a part of, and again, it made my channel grow even more, and I just hit 30,000 subscribers yesterday, so that is very exciting. So in April, there was the first Berry Game Exchange of the year, which is an event run by my friend Nintendo Hodge, and it's always a good time. It was a really good show for me. Usually there's not a lot in terms of PC big boxes. Usually I end up buying something I don't actually want just because it's my only option of what I can find there. But this time I actually found two things that were actually on my list of games I really wanted. So the first one is Lands of Lore, Thrones of Chaos, or Throne of Chaos. This is one of my favorite games. It's like my favorite 3D dungeon crawling game. This isn't the exact version that I would have chosen if I had everyone to choose from. I played the CD-ROM version. This is the floppy disk version, but that's okay. It also has a little bit of a rip here on the side, which I'm not too concerned about since I really only need one side of the spine that's going to stick out from the bookshelf. It's got a number of things in here, lots of delicious little manuals. So first of all, it's got the discs, of course. There are 7 of them. So I guess this is not the one with the voice acting. That's just the CD one, I think. It's got the instruction manual that just goes over how to play, the characters, the UI and things like that. And then there's also a little compendium kind of more informational stuff that goes over the history of the lands and the different kinds of monsters that you will fight while you're exploring. And then what else is there? There's some news and notes from Westwood Studios, which is a little newsletter that Westwood put out. A free software offer. And this is cool. There's a contest. Can you stop Scotia? Do you dare? Play the game on Ferocious level, take a picture of yourself beside the special screen that will be shown at the end of the game, mail the picture along with a piece of paper with your shirt size, name, and address, and you can win prizes. There's a first, second, and third prize. And then a second PC big box which I found was King's Quest VII. This is actually my favorite of the King's Quest games. This is actually the first Was it the first? No, I think I played 5 first. But I think this is the first King's Quest game I actually beat, and it became one of my favorites. I loved that you played as Rosella and Valenice rather than Graham, and I just love the color scheme of the whole thing. I just found it one of the most beautiful sort of artistic games that I had played at this time. So take a look at what's in this one. Oh, and this one, again, a little bit of damage on the front of it, which is unfortunate, but I'm not super picky about condition of things, so that's fine. One thing that I really like is that the waybill from Sierra was still included in this box. It got shipped to a Radio Shack that's actually just, or was just down the street from where I live now, which is kind of cool. What else is in here? Of course, we've got the discs and a startup floppy disk in addition to the CD-ROM. And then the Sierra catalog, which is good. I flipped through all of this. I loved seeing all the games that were planned. Some of them came out, some of them didn't. But yeah, you know, I love these little catalogs that just show like what the anticipated games of the time were. I also got this, Maximum Force for PlayStation 1. This is one of those questionable purchases. I bought it because this is my favorite arcade light gun game. I used to play this a ton. There was a bar called the Fox and Fiddle that I used to go to all the time, sort of like in my beginning university years, where I would run into everyone I went to high school with and everyone I worked with, and there was dancing and there was drinking, and most of the time I just like found my way over to the Maximum Force arcade machine and would just pump quarters in it until I got to the end. So as this is a light gun game, I doubt that I'll actually be doing much playing of it on the PlayStation at home, but it is one of those games that sort of meant a lot to me, so I wanted to have a physical copy. So this isn't my pickup, but I thought it was cool. It's Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest, and it is a novelization of the game. I've never actually played Simon's Quest, but the novel looks like a cool and quick read, and it's even got game hints in it, so they're all like upside down at the end of each chapter. This one says, take the top path in the Veros Woods to get to Berkeley Mansion. So it's sort of like a combined novel and hint book, and I just thought it was very cute. So now on to what I've been playing. I actually finished a number of games in April, as well as started a few things that immediately didn't appeal to me, and I moved on to the next thing. The first thing I want to talk about is a game called Save the Date, and it is on PC, Mac, and Linux. It is a little game. It's sort of very text-based, kind of like a visual novel. You play someone who's going on a date with this woman, and you start out and you have your phone and you phone her and you're planning your date. So you can say, oh, do you want to go for Thai food or Mexican food or seafood? And you pick a restaurant, you go, you start having a good time, and then all of a sudden a freak accident happens. The deck on the restaurant collapses, or there's a shooting, and your date is killed. Then the game starts again, and you know that your date has been killed. So the next time you try to do it, you're like, okay, well, I'm not gonna go to the Thai restaurant this time because she got shot there, so I'm gonna try this other restaurant. But she gets killed again. And it sort of just keeps going on like that, where you're trying to use what you've learned and avoid the situations you know are gonna happen, but it seems like you just can't help her dying, and the ways that she dies get more and more ridiculous as time goes on, and it's very cool. It eventually gets very sort of meta and fourth wall breaking, but it was really excellent. It was really well done. It really got you thinking about like fatalism and whether we can actually stop events from happening, and the idea of games and game rules and whether they can be broken. And it was very, very enjoyable. I'm going to leave the link to where you can get this game. I believe it's free, but it's one of those ones where you can tip the developer if you like it. So I definitely recommend taking a look at it and tipping the developer if you have a good time with it. The next game I played is Operencia, The Stolen Sun. This was just added to Xbox Game Pass as soon as it came out, basically. I think it's on PC and Xbox One. It is a 3D dungeon crawler, so along the lines of Lands of Lore, but it does turn-based combat. And as soon as I saw this, I was like, yes, this is what I've been looking for. Like, this is exactly the kind of game I want to play right now. And overall, I loved it. It's got a good cast of characters. The story was like, you know, the story was fine. It uses, I think it's Hungarian myth. So a lot of sort of characters and entities from that. And you go through all kinds of different lands. It looks gorgeous. Some of the spells you get and the armor you get are like cool abilities, and the spell effects look great. One warning I will give is that in the prologue of the game, the voice acting is horrendous. But if you get past the prologue, once you get into the main game, it picks up and improves considerably. So just in case you do give it a shot, don't be turned off by that first like 20 minutes or so of the game. It does get much better in terms of voice acting after that. Yeah, I just really liked it. There's all kinds of like secrets to find and little puzzles to solve while you're going through these lands and getting into combat and finding new gear. And yeah, just the 3D dungeon crawling plus the turn-based combat was just like, feels like someone made the game just for me. The next game I played was Smoke and Sacrifice, and I remember someone recommending this to me in my video about mothers in games, because this is a game about a mother who, she lives in this society that sort of has questionable beliefs and worships this sort of deity who says, or who the priest around them says, require sacrifices. So the firstborn of families is taken and sacrificed to this thing that they're worshipping. But after a while, she thinks, you know, maybe this is wrong. She comes to think that maybe her son is actually alive, and so she sort of goes on a journey to find her child. And it's sort of gameplay like Don't Starve, if you've played that, except, and this is what kept me going because I didn't like Don't Starve, it's not roguelike. Like, there's save points everywhere, so you don't have to worry about losing your progress or losing your things. And it does have a, you know, linear-ish story that takes you from story point to story point, and there's like a definite end to the game. So that is what kept me going with it, even though the gameplay isn't totally my cup of tea. It's sort of like an overhead view where you fight some monsters. The combat isn't particularly engaging. You find all kinds of items with which you can craft different foods to give you buffs or restore your health. You can craft equipment that gives you access to different areas of the world. Yeah, a lot of fighting and looting and crafting, but it is tied together through a nice story, and it does keep you, if you choose, on a path towards the end of the game and towards, you know, finding out what's going on. So it was interesting. Like, I feel like if you like games like Don't Starve, this might appeal to you if you want sort of that, but with more of a story focus. Yeah, as I said, the gameplay, not totally my cup of tea, but I did play through the entire thing and thought it was pretty good. And the last game I beat that I want to talk about is The Infectious Madness of Dr. Dekker, and this is an FMV game. You know how I love my FMV games. It was made by the same people who did The Shape-Shifting Detective, which I don't remember now if I talked about that when I played it. But you play a psychologist or psychiatrist, and you are taking the spot of Dr. Dekker, who had just been murdered, and you're talking to all of his patients and trying to find out if one of them was the murderer, while at the same time trying to help them with the problems that they originally came to Dr. Dekker with. And you find out as you talk to them that every one of them has like a magical kind of ability, and you are trying to figure out exactly what's going on, if they're making it up, if they actually do have these powers, why all of these people with powers have sort of congregated in this one psychiatrist's office. It's got its good and bad things. I really think all the acting in it is quite good. I really like the story and the dialogue. I played it on Xbox though, which I think was a giant mistake. The gameplay basically just consists of asking these people questions so that you can get the information you need to sort of move the story forward and find out who the perpetrator is. On PC, I can see it working much better because you would just use your keyboard and you would ask questions, whereas on Xbox, though you can type in questions, unless you have one of those like keyboards for your Xbox, typing in questions with just a gamepad sucks. Like it's a big waste of time and it's not fun to do, but instead they give you question prompts. So you still can find out all the information you need from those prompts, but at the same time that kind of takes away the game part of the game. So it's just sort of going through all the questions and that's about it. So I definitely think if this is something you're interested in, the PC version would be the way to go as opposed to console, but I did find, like, as an interactive FMV story, it was quite good. Other than that, a game came out that I was really looking forward to called Heaven's Vault, and it's about archaeology and uncovering a past civilization and also figuring out a brand new language, and it's very cool so far, but I'll probably talk about it more next time because I'm still not finished it. And then the last thing is, for some reason, I decided that I wanted to play Cuphead again and beat everything on expert level, which is tough. I had a hard enough time beating it on normal mode, so I think I've done maybe 4 or 5 levels on expert, and it's very hard. And I don't know why I'm doing this to myself, but I have sunk a few hours into Cuphead. I don't know what it is about Cuphead because I'm the kind of player who gets frustrated very quickly, who if a game is too hard, I'm just not interested. Like, I just want to have fun and get through a story and move on to the next thing. But something about Cuphead, well, I can just die on a boss literally 100 times and I'll just be like, yep, retry it, it's fine, it's all good, I'll get it one day. So I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the great music or something, but yeah. So I think that's it for this update. Let me know in the comments what you've been playing, if there's anything interesting that you picked up recently, and thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.